What is up, everybody? We are live in California, Investor Day, Glass House Brands. Big news yesterday, don't you think? Welcome into our latest TDR Trade To Black podcast presented by Flowhub. Ventured across the country, and I met him with this guy, Mr. AB.
Yep.
What do you think?
It's good. We got Glass House Investor Day going on. All the analysts in the industry are here. We're doing this in person for once. We got a quarterly occasion that we get to do, and it's nice. The sun just came out.
They had the mic arm up a little high on you. Now you're holding that. So You like it?
No,
I didn't think so.
not at all. I would prefer the mic arm that you're using right now, but it is what it is. We got to do what we got to do.
But you're turning into the true media personality, like prima donna. You got to have everything set up perfectly, right?
Yeah, well, not holding the mic. I mean, it's a little awkward.
Yesterday, we had a good little trip. We went up to Leaf Brands. We're going to have that content coming out probably early next week. Got to see Micah Anderson, but 80-acre farm that's going to expand. Full scale, they hope to be up to 300 acres, but we had some aerial shots. What a valley that was, and once it's at full capacity, what a massive piece of land. But everything he's described about being protected in the area of pesticides and stuff like that, there's nothing around. But one thing they do well is they grow good cannabis, but that was a sight to see, and that's going to be very interesting and very exciting for our viewers to kind of get a real view of what we saw yesterday. It was very, very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was impressive. We see a lot of indoor facilities. Obviously, we're at one of the largest indoor facility or greenhouse facilities in North America, and seeing an outdoor facility in, I don't want to call it its infancy, but in its first stage at 80 acres, getting expanded out to 180 acres throughout that entire track, with the potential to expand out even more on the land is great to see. I mean, I think Micah's dialed. It's a no-frills operation. I mean, every dollar that I could see that's been spent on that is going directly into growing cannabis, as it should. And it was great to see it in person. Look forward to seeing it fully planted, the 180 acres, about a year from now.
Yeah, well, they say in Texas, everything's bigger in Texas, but California might be different here because we go from an outdoor farm. What is the capacity here at Glass House here? This place is huge.
5.2 million square feet, and I got to go up on the water tower with Kyle this morning and see...
No afraid of heights?
Everything, no. I'm not afraid of heights. See everything from a bird's eye view, and it was fantastic.
Big shout out to Bobby and Brian behind the scenes making this all happen. Aaron's holding the fort down overseas. We're seeing all kinds of people here. We're seeing some analysts from New York. That's encouraging to see. So that's the sign of the future. Everybody's best friend, Marc Cohodes, is here. Seth Yakatan, even Noah Hamman from Advisor Shares. He made the trek across the country. So we'll bring him in just a moment. But as usual, today's podcast is presented by Flowhub. If you're a serious operator, you already know margins are tight, compliance is complex, and execution matters. That's exactly why so many leading dispensaries across the country, they run on Flowhub. Gives you real-time inventory visibility, built-in compliance reporting, integrated payments, and powerful analytics. All in one streamlined platform, no patchwork systems, no manual workarounds. So whether you're scaling from one location to 5 or managing a multi-state footprint, Flowhub helps you move faster, stay compliant, and protect your bottom line. So if you're ready to move smarter, build something very efficient with your retail operation, learn more, book a demo right now at flowhub.com. All right, lots going on. We had some good stories that broke out here this morning in the last 24 hours. The first one major story today, real development. The DEA has officially begun on-site inspections at cannabis businesses that applied to federal protections under Trump's rescheduling directive. Meaningful action we've seen since those applications were sent in. So these aren't emails or paperwork checks. These are agents physically showing up, walking facilities, reviewing compliance, and really determining who qualifies under the new federal framework. When you see the DEA actually stepping into facilities, what does that tell you as to where this whole federal process is moving and how quickly? Because I welcome this news.
Yeah, it's great to see. It's great to see boots on the ground. It's great to see that it's happening in a collaborative nature. I mean, thanks to Tom from Marijuana Moment for reporting on this and getting actual quotes from operators that were going through the check-ins by the DEA. I mean, it shows that they're there to learn, they're there to do this process, and they're there to get this right. Having a collaborative DEA versus an adversarial DEA couldn't be any more different of an experience than what we saw under the Biden administration. If these agents are walking into these facilities with open arms and wanting to obviously inspect and make sure that they're adhering to the law and adhering to what they need to be licensed under the DEA, and they're willing to learn and collaborate with the operators, like, there couldn't be a better scenario.
Very telling to see this all as positive momentum. And clearly, when you talk about one DEA to the next, We don't bring up Terrence Cole's names all that much, but clearly this is being spearheaded, I would think, by him, but obviously as well, President Trump. But this is all things pointing in the right direction. And when you look at the broader picture, I think all signs point positive. Now, as far as timing, I heard a lot of stuff this week in Chicago. I know there's some videos yesterday that we posted out about timelines. I can't really predict all that, but we did hear news last night that there could be IRS and FinCEN updates that are imminent. So fingers crossed that is indeed the case. Whether that happens or not, who knows? But regardless, you bring all this stuff together, it points in one direction, and it's positive. Something that, again, we want to continue to remind people because we're not used to this, right?
No, not at all. And obviously, I think we've all learned the timelines don't really age well in this sector. So it's good to kind of just be vigilant, to keep your head on a swivel, and just watch what's happening. We've had two very powerful data points this morning, both with the DEA revelations as well as the Supreme Court ruling, which we'll get into next.
Yep.
But I mean, things are moving in our favor, and I mean, they're moving swiftly. We've got federal policy, we've got regulatory change, we've got agency cooperation, we've got unanimous decisions going on at the Supreme Court level. People are waking up and fundamentally understanding that Americans want the right to consume cannabis.
Yep.
They're going to continue to have the right to consume cannabis, and we need to further reform the industry and the policy in this country around it as a whole, and that's where we need to go.
Hey, we got the tunes going on in the background.
Yeah, that was a little
it's all good.
surprise.
It's good times here today. Cool little setting, I would say. We're staying up in Santa Barbara. We came down the coastal highway, but it's what a beautiful part of the country. Incredible.
Yeah.
Look, if you're an operator right now, and you know the DEA is going to be coming to your facilities, if you're an operator yourself, what are you preparing for?
I don't
know.
No, I'm not an operator.
No, I hear you.
I would assume that you're going through the checklist of what you had put into the applications and make sure that you're compliant and adhering to what the DEA mandates say you need to be adhering to. And that question kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
You like that?
Yeah, no.
Tell me.
I'm not an operator by trade, obviously.
Well, you're a pretty smart guy.
Logic would tell you that, do exactly what you said you were going to do in that application process.
Yep.
Make sure everything is compliant. And the fact that the DEA is showing up being collaborative and friendly to a certain extent versus, let's say, adversarial and obstinate to a certain degree is great.
Yeah, I think so too, as we keep reiterating. Okay, let's move on. While this is all happening in the regulatory side, we also saw some major legal drop that actually broke out this morning, again, from Marijuana Moment. This actually made like even Fox News, because this one could really reshape how cannabis users are treated under federal law. So the U.S. Supreme Court ruled unanimously 9-0 that think about that, 9-0, that prosecuting a marijuana user for owning a firearm violates the Second Amendment. Massive, massive statement. For years, as we know, cannabis consumers have been treated like second-class citizens under federal gun laws. So times are changing. And what do you think this implies? What do you think happens next? Because, again, this is a telling sign that things are heading in the right direction.
This implies that conservative and liberal judges both ruled on this in the same way.
Yeah.
They're both seeing this eye to eye. If liberals and conservatives can see eye to eye on the cannabis issue, I think that bodes very well for us as well in terms of, let's say, the legal challenges that are to come, the legal challenges that are currently playing out in court, and just the overall sentiment of how the administration, how the judicial branch is looking at cannabis moving forward. And I mean, I don't want to kind of get ahead of myself, but I think this is a positive data point going into the hearing that will reschedule cannabis in totality to 3.
You surprised at all on how they voted unanimously at 9-0?
A little bit in the unanimous nature of it, but I thought that this was going to fall in our favor the entire time. I mean, I think that this is long overdue. You can't keep guns and firearms that are constitutional right out of the hands of people because they're using medical marijuana. You can't expect vets to go and defend this country abroad, come home, and want to use medical marijuana for things that are a byproduct of them committing their service to this country, and then tell them that they can't own firearms to boot. It's great to see the decision. It's great to see the unanimous vote for it. And it's just another strong data point leading to overall reform going into the hearing.
That only applies more political pressure, I think, in a lot of ways. You think about this lawsuit, and I understand it's something completely separate.
Yep.
When you add up all these pieces together, it adds political pressure that this has to get done. And hopefully this judge, obviously with this ALJ hearing, has a swift turnaround as far as feedback, and we're onwards and upwards. But it'd be nice to get, as I've said before, and you've indicated as well, to have an end date of July 15th. I'm hoping that we get some sort of feedback within 30 days. And
yeah, we should. History says it's about a 30-day process for the judge to create his ruling and we move forward.
Yeah. I think when you add up all these pieces, it does add pressure. But at the end of the day, it's just like common sense is prevailing, something that we wanted to, and we're getting. And I keep saying it's something unusual for this industry. But regardless, we'll take it. But all in all, there's our Rusty Kuta from Vantage Hemp that's here as well. But so you climbed up 60 feet, got the aerial footage, you said. Were you the only one that went up?
No, it was myself, Kyle, Kyle's wife, Will, the journalist from Forbes that covers the sector, and then 2 other investors.
Yeah. Great news about Glass House yesterday, becoming the second company to list on the New York Stock Exchange.
Yep.
Great situation for them, unlike some of the other companies that have intentions to uplist later on down the road. There's no reverse split that's required whatsoever.
Correct.
Very good position. And we were out for dinner last night at the Investor Day, and there are some pretty influential investors that we got a chance to meet face-to-face last night. But not a ton of volume for this company. It doesn't move much, but man, you can really understand as to where this company obviously is setting up, but more importantly, where the industry's next stage is, because, we're still years away. I don't know if it's years, but, we can't really entertain interstate commerce, but you can get an idea of what the next chapter of this cannabis industry is going to be.
Yep.
And Kyle was out in front of Investor Day, and he's openly said in our last podcast, and he said here this morning, we're openly speaking to other MSOs about partnerships, how that's going to be framed and structured in due time, but we will know. But everybody pay attention. These uplistings are helpful, and a lot of the conversations on how to scale and growth opportunities are going to be massive for a lot of these big shops. And I do think that as more and more partnerships are announced, it's going to be very telling and very educational for the Black Rocks and Fidelities to entertain this industry and to get involved. But all in all, another step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, the dinner was great. I think the one correlation between most people that were there is from an investment perspective, any of the guys that were investors in the business, they all had a heavy Wall Street background. They were all from hedge funds. They were all from private equity. They were all from big insurance. They have immense experience in capital allocation, and they happen to heavily invest in Glass House.
Yep. We're seeing Noah Hamman walk around. Let's bring him in. Why don't you head onto that chair right there, my friend? I give this guy credit. Got on a plane and came all the way. Let's set the headphones on. Good day, my friend.
Yes, good day.
Can we hear you loud and clear? Give me the thumbs up. We got lots of good audio. How's that?
Testing.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
Get a little. Got to not be up on the mic, but
these mic arms are a little high, but that's part of the.
How's it sound for Noah?
We're good.
We're good.
We're good for the sound. Arn's back at home. All you viewers back at home. Can we?
Good.
Give us good feedback. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Good week. I ran into Dan in Chicago,
Nice.
and everything was sounding positive as well. Get the odd question, be like, "Oh no, there's no inflows coming to the ETF."
We're starting there.
Right, exactly.
Believe me,
So,
I would like to see them as well.
Noah, let's put you on the spot.
Yep.
For all those viewers out there that are actually
Check.
Testing.
Check. All
Does that
right.
merge audio, that thing?
We are
Yeah.
live.
Oh.
We're back live.
We're back live.
All right.
We're live.
Can everybody hear us?
Can everybody hear us? All right.
Is this thing on?
Smash up those lights. All right, we're good. Somebody out back actually cut the
generator.
The generator.
Someone turned the generator off.
Somebody turned the generator off. But we appreciate you filling all that information about inflows. So we'll see you next time, Noah. Thanks again. All right, let's just keep this simple. We're trying to. Not the most greatest question, to tee up a conversation, but that's one of the things I brought up with Dan, and he's just like saying, my gosh, we've raised a lot of money. Inflows, yes, are nice, but at the same time, too, we're all fine. As these stocks go up, so will the ETFs. So what's your message to our viewers out there that are wondering, why is there no inflows, and what does this mean as far as the future?
So I probably have a message in general about how ETFs work, and maybe just a little bit of history, which is, in general, how ETFs work. Yes, we didn't see any inflows from about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, when the numbers were ramping up and the volume was really crazy. But in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's headed the other way. We've also not seen any redemption. So as a market maker, right, they're the ones that ultimately decide whether or not they're going to create or redeem. And they're making that decision. Remember, these guys are trading on fractions of a penny. There's creation and redemption fees they pay when they do that. So if they're hedged and their cost of hedging isn't ridiculous, or they think flows are going to move back and forth, they're just ultimately making a capital decision for their balance sheet as to when they're going to create or when they're going to redeem. So yes, I want to see the inflows, of course, when things are running, but it's also nice not to see the redeems when things turn down. And just as a quick history, if you guys probably don't even remember this, but back in the global financial crisis, right, everything was volatile. A couple politicians, possibly even someone named Jim Cramer, was pointing to the volatility of ETFs being a catalyst for that. And what they found was during that time frame, while there was tons of trading volume, very little create and redemption in the biggest products, SPY and some of the bond ones. So it's just the nature of ETFs. The market makers can hold that inventory on their balance sheet if they want. When they're ready to get rid of it, they can. It's far more efficient for them to trade in and out of it than to come directly to the fund. So, I want to see more inflows, but the nature of ETFs, unlike mutual funds, where a dollar comes in, dollar comes out, it trades out there, which, as a reminder, is great for shareholders. That friction and the trading cost and all of that is outside of the fund. If that happened like a mutual fund and people were just churning within the fund directly, well, it's drag and all of that's cost. So again, I want to see inflows, but it's a really efficient way for ETFs to operate.
But go ahead, you want to say something?
Absolutely. I mean, Noah kind of just nailed it. That is how an ETF should operate. That's
I know
efficient.
ETFs.
I mean, talking about efficiency, I mean, I know it's one of the bigger topics in the industry right now. Has TrueLeaf's price action surprised you since they uplisted?
Yes, I would say yes, without a doubt. Now, is there sort of a rationale for it? Yeah, it seems like, the messaging and the prep, we're getting attacked, the messaging and the prep, institutionally probably wasn't there. But I also think the first one needed to go, right? They couldn't plan it. They couldn't go to institutions and say, hey, I promise this is going to happen. We're 5 years into sort of this insanity. And so it's a show me environment for institutions. And even with one going, I'm still hearing, big institutions are still a bit hesitant. I think they want to see this ALJ
Heard that loud and clear this week.
Wonders. So I don't love the price action. I certainly don't love, some of the messaging that kind of came around it. But I am so happy that she did it. I'm happy that one is done. And it's short-term volatility. For me, as a longer-term investor, I know if you're a shorter-term trader, the action afterwards was probably frustrating. As a long-term investor, all right, one more buying opportunity.
Well, I think some of the feedback you're hearing this week, and let's call it like it is, just the idea that you start listing and then all of a sudden, like CEO Kim Rivers, who's never sold a share since running TrueLeaf. Right. She sold, 2 million shares in the first week?
No, she's authorized to sell 2.5. She sold a little bit under 1.9, I believe.
Okay, so,
So it's coming at a rough time.
I get it.
And whatever reason she needs to do that, to me, the amounts...
The damn fly.
I know. The amounts fairly immaterial. But I get it. Optics don't make it look great. And in a weird sort of a way, relative to the size of these stocks, 2 million is a decent amount.
But let's not kid
it's
it.
noise.
But
it's not
the one
signal.
thing...
The signal is we're heading in the right direction.
Yes. And the one thing we have seen since TrueLeaf has uplisted is the volume on a dollar weighted on a dollar-weighted basis has greatly improved.
Totally watching that, right?
Yeah.
I'm watching them for the consistent takeover Tilray.
I have traveled a lot this week, but what are we seeing as far as daily volume this week?
It's averaging like $12 to $15 million a day.
That's about right.
Somewhere around there.
And a couple of days, I think they dollar value out, traded Tilray, but a few days they haven't. And so I want to see that consistent approach. It's the same way we actually looked at our ETF in terms of the trading volume. You look at the dollar amount of liquidity that's flying through it, and it's starting to inch up there.
Yeah. Boris Jordan was on stage this week and saying it is our responsibility, and it's going to be at the forefront of these next couple of months on the education with the big shops on this industry.
Absolutely.
And I get it's from an optics standpoint, but I think the big thing was just be patient, people.
Right.
Can you imagine what Kim's doing right now? I'm sure she's had lots of conversations in the past, and the feedback is that yes, the BlackRocks, the Fidelities are looking at this. They're up to speed on it, but as we've said many times, Anthony, it's the risk factor.
Right.
And once that hearing is finalized in July 15th, you and I have even discussed about imminent news and updates from the IRS and from FinCEN. That is going to be extremely telling. The stories that we see this morning, more companies uplisting, this is all coming to fruition. It's all heading in the right direction.
Right.
I'm still a firm believer that if you and I are having this conversation in 2 months from now, we're in a completely different situation. Not the end of the year.
Right.
You know, I think that there's going to be a lot of change that'll take place, and everything will come to fruition here in the next 2 to 3 months.
Right. I agree. The signal's heading in the right direction. Virginia coming through. Hopefully Pennsylvania
surprising.
next.
Yeah.
The haste that Virginia came through was surprising.
Yes.
And be careful, Shaq, because if you point to the hearing and the FinCEN guidance, you're going to be accused of moving the goalposts.
What do you mean?
On people. Because everybody, I said this on Twitter actually yesterday, and everyone's like, oh, look, they're moving the goalposts again. I'm like, guys, the goalposts haven't moved. The ball's just being held there and needs to be kicked through. The only things that matter is FinCEN guidance and the hearing.
There's not going to be one day or one thing that's the catalyst. It's a path. It's a process.
Yeah.
Well, I look at today, like the Supreme Court, the judicial system, like
Fantastic.
9-0 as far as like unanimous vote. You factor that in, you factor the DEA is going to be visiting, and they're embracing, obviously, these visitations, which is incredible as well. You have an end date. When you have a hearing and you already have an end date, that's very, very telling. People.
But everyone don't freak out if they go past the end date.
Correct.
Right? It's okay, right? At least they have a target for an end date.
It's not definitely not in a vacuum. That hearing could easily go,
Right.
Yeah. All in all, positive. But you made the trek across the country. What'd you think of, obviously, the news yesterday regarding Glass House? Are you getting any harassments from Marc Cohodes on changing the weight?
He definitely believes we are underweighted. Yes, there's no doubt. Marc believes we're underweighted, and it is fantastic.
You can probably hear us from here.
Yeah, it's fantastic news. And so, I don't know if Dan has already said this, but I think the day Trulieve listed, the very next day, we got the verbal from BNY Mellon that we were all clear. And I think it took maybe 2 or 3 days for the official memo policy that they shoot out to all their clients and customers to get updated. And so I'm expecting Glass House to go as quickly when it happens for them.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. Dan's already, for those that watch closely enough, he's already been moving from swap to individual shares and custody. Yep, absolutely. He's already done it. Okay. We still probably won't be able to do all of it because of the diversification rules, but our position in Glass House, we'll probably be able to do most of that.
Okay.
Well, all in all, it's a positive direction. And what are you guys anticipating? Like, again, it's no one really understood in the first week what was going to happen with Trulieve, but anytime you get a second company that announces an uplisting, that's huge. But it's only gonna. I don't even want to ask the question as far as expectations of the first couple of days. Hopefully next week they begin trading on the senior exchange, but it just draws more eyeballs and more attention for the sector as a whole. So
absolutely, yeah. Trulieve got a lot of news and regular, traditional media coverage. Hopefully Glass House gets some of that as well. Get the Marc Cohodes PR machine going, and the attention and the awareness is what's important.
Can you imagine if we get Marc on Jim Cramer?
Love it. Love it. That would be awesome.
I did see Jim Cramer was saying he loved Trulieve earlier this week.
I know.
So take that for what it's worth.
From Mitch in Chicago.
Yep. I know we got to be careful of the inverse Cramer, but
I know.
It is good to see. It is good to see because back in the day when Cramer was talking about Canopy and Constellation, it was a good time in the industry.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
Yeah.
He'd show up with his blazer and his T-shirt on with Canopy. Now I see Bruce. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's gotten a haircut since he left, and good for him. He doesn't care, but
he's enjoying life.
Yep. Good for him.
A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people love him, though. But he put the eyeballs on this industry. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Here we are in 2026, and who would have thought that we got an executive order that was then followed through with rescheduling and perhaps Schedule III for adult use as well. But No, when did you launch this ETF? How many years ago?
2020, 2021. So YOLO was first. Remember that when we had about 25% of the swap exposure in that.
Yep.
And I think it was maybe 2021, right? MSOs, and we got the full approval from the SEC that we could do more in that swap exposure. Then that came second. And then it took off. I mean, again, at the end of the day, we're sort of a small boutique shop, and just had an amazing opportunity to create that strategy, even when there were other cannabis ETFs out there.
Yeah.
So we're lucky, we're fortunate, we have fantastic shareholders who have continued to support the product. Right? It's been miserable performance-wise.
It's been a nice investment over the past year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think 100% roughly, plus or minus.
Yeah,
right,
and I
think
think
when you got in,
some investors look at the 5-year chart and whoa, like it's down. But I get it. But those are different times. Like the industry was completely different. Where it was still in the early days of 2020, 2021.
Right.
It was all based on what the U.S. potentially could be, and by that point, the Canadian run had pretty much exhausted itself.
Yep.
But we thought we were going to get reform, and that obviously extended another 4 to 5 years, which is why we are in the situation that we are. But like we had with Andrew O'Connell on last week, we talked about the Russell 2000, and some of these companies like AI and tech have $3-4 billion market caps and have $0 in revenue. However, when you look at these top 3, 4, 5 companies and what they're producing, like there's fundamentals there.
Yep.
So Boris did say, I think some healthy consolidation, it's on its way, and I think it is. But,
Agreed,
there's too many companies in the industry right now, and we need to consolidate and start making $10 to $15 billion market cap companies. And I get it. We'll see what happens. But I think the big question is what happens next to a few companies that we haven't really heard of, and put 2 and 2 together as to who I'm referring to, and who could possibly merge. But yeah.
And I would say, look at the tobacco industry when you're looking at sort of what you think the fundamentals might look like. They're very similar in terms of, growing a plant. It's a commodity at the end of the day, but you're selling, baseline and premium-based products. You look at their margins. They've been historic, cash flow generators, and that's what a lot of institutional investors want in their portfolio. So this space will take time. But talking about that 5-year chart, too, I just would tell people to overlay that with the shares outstanding if you want to know what the real shareholders think about where we've been. That outstanding share amount has only continued to increase. So they are continuing to invest, and hopefully, knock on wood, they're going to see the benefits in it from a performance perspective. It still might be 6 months, a year out, 2 years.
Do you know off the top of your head how much it's increased over these last couple of years?
No, I'd have to check, but I'd say probably plus or minus 20% shares outstanding, but I'd have to go back and look.
Everything good?
Yeah, I need to stand. This thing is just not. I'm not holding this for the 45.
Your arm's going to get sore.
Yeah, I'm not holding this for
I can give you
minutes.
some Mama Sue balm.
Give him some CBD rub in his little forearm there. Oh, he's got the stand coming in. But all in all, and some of the other feedback was just wait until you see some of these earnings from big alcohol the next couple of months. And it's pretty telling to see here in 26 how some people think they could be really scary. And then the flip side with cannabis, it's the complete opposite. So
I think in general, they'll be pretty bad. Maybe not counting the World Cup bump, right? I mean,
good point. Good point.
But outside of that, yes, they're struggling.
I'm curious to see if there's a World Cup bump for cannabis.
Interesting.
I mean, there's a lot of these World Cup
coming into adult use.
A lot of these World Cup games are going on in adult use markets: Seattle, LA, New York.
Yep.
So Anthony and I landed at LAX. We checked into our hotel, then we made the trek. 8 miles. It took us 59 minutes. Gotta love LA traffic.
To the woods.
To the woods.
I went there yesterday as well.
Which great. So we should post some pictures. Actually, I should send these to Arns. But what a cool dispensary, coffee shop to the next, and out back is just complete nature.
Yep.
They've got treehouse cabins.
Yep.
Up in trees, and people are just chilling out there in all these different rooms. But everyone's just socializing as if you're at a bar,
hanging out.
But everyone's just consuming cannabis, and I thought it was very laid back. I thought it was kind of funny because they're playing some hardcore Metallica and Ozzy Osbourne in addition to cannabis. So I didn't know the combination between the two. But regardless, something I've never really experienced before, but. According to the people that took us there, next time we go, we'll be able to get Woody Harrelson on, go up in one of those cabins.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and interview him.
Yeah, it's a nice place. I mean, in the middle of the city, obviously, Santa Monica Boulevard, but it is this oasis once you really walk into it. So yeah, nice setup. It's a great example of what that experience. Not every dispensary obviously is going to be that way, but for people who want to socialize around it and be in that kind of relaxing setting, boy, they've done a really good job with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's for sure. We look at 2026 and where we are in this cannabis space. And like I said, you've been involved in a long time. We've seen you at a lot of events in Vegas over the years and where we are right now. How much do you think, yes, the industry has grown and it's just getting started, but Has anything surprised you in any way as to like where the industry has changed to where it is today? I know it's a pretty broad question, but from an investor standpoint, from a stigma standpoint, to like, you know, I can't emphasize enough that, yeah, we're all frustrated, but my God, in the last 8 days, we've had 2 companies list on a major exchange. That's historic.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of changes, right? I mean, if you're a company, you've really had to try to do a lot with a little, right? You've still been capital constrained from the traditional markets. So these management teams' ability to work around that has been incredibly impressive, right? We heard the story of Glass House today and the challenges that they had with an employee provider and how they had to get around that and how difficult it was, you know, both just the relationships that they had with people and then just the impact on the business. I mean, these are resilient management teams to get through that. You know, you talk about the sort of broader general acceptance. I feel like you're seeing that increase, especially with all the sort of the mainstream coverage that you're seeing on traditional networks. And then I think maybe sort of the political environment, right? When I sort of came into the space, I thought, oh, Biden's as president, you know, Democrats were in control, all this was going to happen. We probably had perfect timing around the product. That's been an interesting surprise, right? No different than maybe these businesses. You're not really betting on a political party. You're betting on the politician who's going to, you know, make common sense decisions and can drive those things. So surprised to see where we're at with a Republican majority administration, but you know, but again, it has nothing to do with party politics. I don't think it's about the people and being more rational about things.
Well, as we get more attention and we segued into this, we heard Kyle just during the Investor Day. I thought he said it in our live stream a couple weeks ago that they're openly talking to other MSOs about partnerships.
Oh yeah.
Biggest thing that we heard probably in Chicago this week, again, is about consolidation. Do you believe that we see, guys, either question, that we see consolidation before the end of the calendar year?
More? Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think people are picking dancing partners.
When I say consolidation, like, do you think we see 2 major MSOs?
By the end of the year, no.
No?
No.
And it depends on how you're defining major, right? I mean, it seems like there's 3 bigs, right?
He's referring to the tier 1s.
Yeah, even the tier 1s, I feel like, right? Would you put Cresco in tier 1 still?
No.
Okay, so what are the tier 1s? Just the 3?
I would say I mean, Cresco's not a tier 1. We've never called Cresco a tier 1.
Okay.
It's not a shot at Charlie. I like his business, but it's never been a tier 1. Tier 1's Verano, Curaleaf, GTI, Trulieve. Yeah.
Do you think Cresco's a tier 1 at one time?
No.
No, I'm asking you, Noah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've looked at them that way now. But I say that. I questioned it because if you look at where they were 2 or 4 years ago and where they are today, I can see why that definition is changing. And same thing. Nothing to do with Charlie. It's just been the dynamics of the industry.
Fair enough.
But if you call them a tier 1 and then you ask me, do I see tier 1s merging before the end of the year? I'd be like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. But if you don't, and it's just the big 3, I'm not sure that you'd see a merger amongst those 3.
No. You think Glass House is headed towards that status of tier 1?
Yes.
I think Glass House is a tier 1 because it's a differentiated business model. I mean, if you're talking about just
the
sheer,
growers,
if you're talking about the sheer,
they're the tier.
Yeah, the sheer capacity for them to grow biomass, they're absolutely a tier 1. But when you look at the footprints and the retail and the manufacturing and everything else within Curaleaf, Verano, GTI, and Trulieve, the businesses aren't the least bit analogous. But I would say by default, Glass House is a tier 1 in their lane.
Yeah.
Right. And I think they're the most attractive to the other tier 1s and certainly the industries outside of cannabis that may come in. I think they really are the Intel inside, and with a little capital and maybe a partnership with a tier 1.
Yeah.
It becomes the most attractive option, I think, within the space.
Yeah.
So assuming all that happens. Wild speculation alert.
How creative do you think Dan will have to be over these next 3, 4, or 5 months, just as more companies uplist? Like, the first question gets like, okay, we see an increase in weighting towards Trulieve.
Yep.
Next question is like, well, do you switch things around in the meantime when it comes to Glass House? Then you have all these other companies that I assume, from what we've heard with reverse splits in the last little bit, that they will be the next day. But this is a very opportunistic time as we reach these historic moments in the industry. And like we've said, once there is clarity and risk is off the table, it's going to move fast. So I assume that you guys are preparing for what is going to be like a very, busy, but this is where I think a lot of the people will lean to see how you manage the ETF accordingly and making sure you do it the right way.
Yeah, I mean, but I think for those that have watched closely, Dan has a history of changing that up, right? Green Thumb was our lead dog for a while, and I think, in hindsight, it was good maybe to pair away from that, and then Curaleaf became our number 1, and I think that worked from a performance perspective, and then now you see it flipping with Trulieve and Glass House is probably a great example of they were probably, 12th or so ranked in our lineup, and now they're 4th. I think they're 10% of the portfolio.
Yep.
Yeah. I heard somebody say this week in Chicago that the whole peptide wave is coming.
Nice.
And he seems to think that there's a lot of companies that will go public in the next 12 months.
GLP-1s or the broader peptide space?
Broader.
So the BCP 157 and the Wolverine stack and all that. I need those things. I need those things like I need this.
I don't know how many executives I saw this week in Chicago, and I'm like, how much weight you lost? Oh, about 40 pounds in 50 days. I'm like,
That's not healthy, though.
That's a lot.
That is not,
a lot of
that is
people
not the least bit healthy.
A lot of weight, that's for sure.
Yep. But even the NAD plus, right? I think, which is legal, maybe not. I don't know if it's a peptide or not, but old people are starting to figure out how can I get younger mitochondria and maybe grow some hair or something. So it's not shocking that people are searching for solutions.
Yeah.
The hair thing's a real deal for somebody like me, buddy.
I believe me, I live it every day. There's no going back for me.
I love those old SNL commercials with Chris Rock when he'd start taking Chia Head.
Right.
Remember the old Chia Pet? He had the green moss on top of his head.
Oh,
But-
yes.
All right, my friend, listen, thanks for checking in. And I know the Glass House team was very appreciative of you flying out here. But we learned a lot last night at the dinner, learned a lot here this morning. And always love to get the connected people in the space on right now. But always people asking questions. And again, for those concerned about inflows, again, a reminder, the way the ETF is structured, if the stocks go up, so does the ETF.
Yeah.
We're all good.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Well, thank you for having me
Thanks,
on.
Don.
Thanks for what you
Okay,
guys
tell
do.
Dan, tell Mackenzie we say hi.
Will do.
And safe travels home.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Happy 250 America, too, to all your friends in Washington. All right. We'll keep things running smoothly here.
Keep it rolling.
I think
Is it
so.
live?
Forget
We're
the
live?
breaks.
Wow.
We are live.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We're live?
Cannabis consultant. I love that woo that you made earlier this week in Chicago.
Woo!
Yes, let's hear it again. It's been
Give me
3
two-
days.
Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes. I thought you were going to say, give me 2 Utah. Tell me you know what that's from.
Give me 2 Utah. Yeah, I know what that's from.
No idea what that's from.
Point Break, Gary Busey, Keanu Reeves.
Give me 2 Utah.
They got these
Got
great
it.
meatball subs. You might give me 2 with this. Utah, give me 2.
All right, can I make this? You can hear me? Should I make this lower?
It doesn't lower at all.
It doesn't
You
lower.
can tilt it, but it doesn't lower.
Should I take it off?
I took it off, but it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah. All
How
right.
about we do this?
Oh, that
Look at
actually
this.
that works.
Hey now.
Hey, he's smart. Gents.
Hey guys, you know what? I want to be a roadie for the show, so I'm really trying to improvise here.
Look, we
That's not the right recipe.
I like that.
By the way, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but twice in 1 week. I mean, thank you. I'm honored.
Listen,
Absolutely honored by the inclusion. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Now,
Oh yeah,
by the way, I'm driving. Did you go on a tour yet?
we did not yet.
I haven't. I need to go on a tour.
Because
Okay.
the last time I was on, I
Yes.
told you that you needed to go on a tour, and I really want to see what especially he thinks.
Well,
Because there are very few people.
didn't you go on a somewhat of a tour?
I mean, yeah, but I didn't see anything. I just saw the roofs.
Okay. Oh, you went up on the water
I went
tower.
up on the tower,
Yeah.
Kyle.
okay.
Yeah.
Bring that mic up.
Yep. Yep. Now it's got the sound.
So you just went
Yeah.
up to the water tower.
I did. Water tower.
Which is impressive.
It was
but
it was cool.
Bobby, can I ask you a favor? Can I give you my phone?
I'm
My
looking
phone
forward to
just
getting
went
inside the
0%.
greenhouses and getting
Plug
inside
that
the
in.
greenhouses
Right.
and seeing how the
There's a
sauce
phone
is
charger down there. Okay, you and I, we saw each other in Chicago. Spoke to you in the very intellectual Hirsch Gene, which I thought were some good takeaways from Chicago. But we got the news, 48 hours later after we spoke on Monday, just where stuff that we're hearing from Chicago, that Glass House, I thought that, yes, they were going to be the next company to announce the uplisting, which indeed is the case.
You called it. You put out a really nice piece. I shared
Appreciate
it
it.
around with a lot of people.
Appreciate
I
it.
think I texted you and told you how nice I thought the piece was.
And I appreciate
And I
that.
also told you I was restricted and I couldn't tell you anything else. So.
I had bets going about a month ago that uplisting was going to be announced around this.
Very nice piece.
Just as a gut feeling.
I might say 2 things on that. I think the team here did an absolutely amazing job. Ben Vega, who's our chief legal counsel, wouldn't happen without him. And I need to give a shout out to someone you need to have on the show,
Who?
Eric Berlin at Denton's. If you had
Yes.
not had him, he is the guy.
Friend of the
So
show-
I
friend of the show.
want to give him a big shout out, friend of mine, and thank you to him and his team at Denton's because they are the fingerprints and the architect to all of these things. And I hope his group is making money.
You know what? When I was in Chicago, I spoke to a couple of attorneys on the state level, some people in New Jersey and various states, and one of them actually told me, he's like, I don't think this is going to pass. I think the Dems are going to bring it across the line. And I was like, I got to exit stage left. But this is what attorneys do. They like to have you think about 15 different things. But the first person I saw when I walked into Ignite It was, guess who? Eric Berlin.
There you go.
And I'm not going to say the exact words what he told me, but more or less, I walked away feeling very, very happy because he's like, everything's just looking very positive.
Chicago is my kind of town.
Chicago
and it's his spot. He owns it.
Yeah.
He's been a great friend to me, and he is really just one of the wisest people in the industry. I listen to him. Like he is the sage of Rush Street, my friend. I'm telling you.
He was the original one to say that they were going to use the treaty obligation.
He was.
He
I
called
mean,
it early.
He's the first person who told me the words dormant commerce.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And also, I'll give him another plug. You know, most of the people that did reverse license deals got their 280E opinion letters from him.
Yep.
So, like, he was the source of truth on a lot of things. A lot of innovation in the industry, and extremely plugged into the state regulatory level.
Super nice.
Just a good guy.
Apologizing too, because we've reached out to him the last few times at the last minute, and I don't expect attorneys to be able to come on the same day you reach out to them when it comes to like late breaking news, but we are going to have him on relatively soon. Love to have Shane on as well, but he's under contract, so there's certain things that he can and can't say, and there's a lot of things he can't say right now, which is why we'd love to have Shane on. He's openly said I'd love to come on again, but the timing obviously doesn't make sense right now. But
it's a hell of a setup here.
Isn't this great? They set us up.
Unbelievable.
We just populated the table.
We got the pound,
phenomenal.
We got the pound bags. We got the plus.
You got everything.
Peanut butter
here.
bread.
I mean, you got the Golden Bear. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, you know, I guess you're going to invoice me for the appearance because I don't know what I'm doing here. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, man. We are speaking to people in Los Angeles about distribution, and if that all comes to fruition, then guess what? We got to expand into more shows.
I love it. Well, I'm ready.
I know you are, and I think it's actually good. And listen, I talked to Anthony about 5 minutes ago before you came on and said, do we see consolidation with 2 top 5 MSOs this year? At the end of the calendar year, he says no. And the feedback I got from you is that, yeah, I think it's going to move and move fast. That was a lot of the conversations that we heard in Chicago this week, but regardless of whether it happens or not, it's the fact of like we are now in this official next chapter of the industry with uplistings, conversations with consolidation, you name it, but all telling stuff that, yeah, there's a lot of speculation going on right now. And I think more news is good news, I think, in this industry, because there's a lot of times where this wasn't really talked about, right?
You are 100% right. And, you know, your show has become a great source of historic prognosticative content for me for my LinkedIn posts, because I seem to recall you had me on in April, and on that we talked about Kim.
Yep.
And we talked about a scenario where we said, hey, we could see her uplist on NASDAQ, right?
Yep.
So we can say we both called it.
Yep.
I think we've been talking about the moment's here. It's now, it's happening, it's real time. I believe you're now going to have the second company on NYSE. And I will tell you, I'm going to disagree for a $2 bet with my fine friend here.
2?
Which I can, yeah, that's all I can afford. Which we can sign, you can auction off. That'd be a big collector's item, I'm sure. I think somebody's going to merge between now and the end of the year. I think you're going to see a tier 1 to 2 happen between now and the end.
Without naming names, did you hear anything like that this week in Chicago?
No, I didn't hear anything like that. But I will. I mean, you know, if we just look at the speed at which and the alacrity at which Vireo is moving, you could see something happen there. There might be a private happen there.
I was going to say, I think you see a private merge with a tier 1A or tier 1B public.
I think that could happen. So, I mean, 2 names that I'm not supposed to talk about in Good Day Farm and Stizzy, you know, they're either the largest or the second largest private MSO in the United States.
Yeah.
And either of them are a prize. So I could see something like that happen, you know, in this grouping of kind of Ascend, TerraSend, Ianthus, Cresco, Verano. One of those is a target.
That's the first thing that Boris said on Monday, was that you're going to have to educate and demonstrate to the big shops in New York about growth.
Dude, if I'm Kim, people might not agree with this. If I'm Kim, you know who I'm buying tomorrow? Jushi. You got Virginia and Pennsylvania.
It's a good footprint match. It's a very good footprint match.
No overlap, and then she absorbs their Ohio. It's an Ohio footprint.
Another name I keep talking about, and I'll keep talking about, is Ianthus. Richard Proud's
I keep forgetting about that.
Everyone forgets about.
I'll tell you why. Because Adler's got $190 million of debt, and he already went through a CCAA process 6 years ago. And that is a beast of an asset. It's 160 in revenue and like 20 of EBITDA.
Yep.
And it needs like $1 billion for one reverse split and a cram down. But that is a jewel of an asset. They've got Florida, Maryland, New Jersey, Ohio, and a great New York facility coming online that some of the people that I know built, because we were helping that company for a while. And I'm telling you, that is a beast of an asset too. So yeah, you got plenty of pieces.
Once considered, I think, a top 5 MSO in the industry, was it not?
I think it was like one of the top 3 at the time that it went out.
Yeah, when Hadley Ford and Randy Maslow were running the show.
That was a huge asset.
Yeah, it was a big deal. What'd you think of the Vireo CXXI?
Loved it.
Acquisition.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Very smart.
We had Sammy hop in.
Very smart.
He was trying to explain, like, look, the size and scale that Vireo has that we don't, and so that's why we made this deal. But you like that deal?
I like it for John and Tyson. I mean, they own. Look, Maz and Tyson are going about a very simple strategy. They want 25% market share of cannabis.
Yeah.
So they're moving in California with me and Glasshouse. They've done it in Colorado. They've done it pretty much in Florida. They've done it in Nevada. They've made one bet in Missouri. Watch them move. They're going to keep doing it.
I'm curious to see what happens in Florida, because obviously they get scale combining Fluent and Green Dragon, but are they going to be able to compete with the likes of Curaleaf, Trulieve, Verano?
I honestly don't think he cares, right? Because if you saw what they said in Chicago, they're going for this Amphenol, distributed model, right? They're not trying to integrate everything. They're going to let each operator operate his own state. The guy who runs proper for them, John Pennington in Missouri, is a great operator.
Gotcha.
Right? So I mean, we'll see. He's going about the process differently than anyone else, and he's going about the integration differently than anyone else. And he's got absolutely the vision, and what I'm going to say is the balls to do it.
Yeah.
And more power to him. Huge amount of respect for him and Tyson and that team, and honored to be a partner with them. Honored.
We haven't had Vireo or talked enough about Vireo, in my opinion. John Mazarakis, am I pronouncing his last name Mazarakis?
Yeah.
Mazarakis, yep.
How would you guys both best describe him?
He's a shark. Just look at Chicago Atlantic.
Yeah.
He's sharp. He's a very, very sharp capital allocator.
I think he is extremely impressive. He is an extremely generous person to work with and for. And I think he is thinking about the industry in a space-time continuum way in 4 dimensions that no one else is thinking about it, because that's just how he thinks.
Yeah.
And everything he has done, from coming here as a 13-year-old immigrant from Greece, has been successful. And I am not betting against him in any way, shape, or form. Wildly impressed by him, wildly impressed by what he's doing. And I do think he will be the largest MSO by revenue by the end of Q1 27. I really do.
Telling, though, about the future, that a lot of these acquisitions are all stock deals and people are taking it. And that goes to show what they think the future holds for the space. So I think that is telling as well. But go ahead.
If you believe what he's selling, it is a very cheap equity right now.
Yeah.
And there are cash deals out there for sellers as well. There's plenty of cash out there that's looking for assets.
And just wait. I mean, look, if he pulls off a GDF or a Stizzy, or let's say a company we haven't talked about a lot on this show, a C3, or a Story or an Elevate or something like that, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
Why does it make sense for companies that want to get acquired now versus, say, waiting 6 to 12 months?
Hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a long time, and you printed some memes off of this show. There are no cash exits.
Correct.
We had Greenwild. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. There are no cash exits. So, I mean, you're either going to bet on the come line and roll with somebody who's going to go deep, or you're going to sit there and hope. And hope ain't a strategy. So that's the way that I look at it.
What a story with Gruen and Christine and the team that she led.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What an execution at her forefront. Met her a couple times, interviewed her once, and she's just very lovely lady, charming. Well, when it's business, you could tell she had that conviction about her whatsoever, and obviously it paid off.
And listen, I think you had Draper on the show, and more power to him and Aaron Morris. But I will go out on my dying breath. Draper Bender is one of the smartest deal guys and operators in the industry. Full stop, bar none. One of the best connected people. If it wasn't for him and the team at Timeless, Josh Hershey and Rocky Huang, I wouldn't even be here today. Like 90% of my relationships are because of the grace of what they've done for me. And Brian Schinderly and Aaron Sauls at SSC. I mean, those guys, they know everybody. And that deal, if it wasn't for Draper, would not have happened. Christine executed the heck out of that. Yeah. But, man, that deal happened because of Draper and Aaron.
Timeless is a brand that I think you see going to a roll-up here.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. I mean, I think that there are a couple brands that we've talked about, you know, Kiva, Jeter,
Rove.
Timeless, Rove, you know, Jaunty, Off Hours, probably not Heirloom, but a few of the M-Fused is probably one you could talk about. Kana, that you could see being rolled up into these.
Kana's got a great product.
Great product, great product, great team there too. So that you could see be rolled up into these things. But brand super brand 2 is coming. It's coming this year.
I'm curious to see what Jeter does, because I mean Jeter's got a brand, but I mean their bread and butter's infused pre-rolls. I don't know really.
I think what we've seen as an industry is that edibles is highly profitable.
Absolutely.
And I think using that as the base off of which to roll things up seems to be easier. Downstream, if you go to someone like a Timeless, you're kind of doing the same thing, which is using Disty to fill a cart. It's probably more profitable. I think Jeter is a little more capital intensive because of the biomass, and that might be more difficult.
And they've got a big loan on the book with Chicago Atlantic.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
So and they're also suffering in Michigan. I mean, I think that's a hard state right now with the excise tax.
Yes. So. You think? Crazy. Well, this has been good. You know, when I think about what Boris has said earlier this week about, these companies have to get to the $10 to $15 billion market cap. Don't get so fixated on just the pubco companies. It's these private companies that are actually producing and well-sustained business models that we're going to start to see that as far as expansion. And,
look, the first time you had me on, we were talking about lower middle market privates, and I do think you're going to see action there, right?
Yeah.
And I think also, you know, don't discount the private multi and single state operators as well, right? You know, I talk ad nauseum about the 5 or 6 guys in Missouri that are doing really, really, really well there, and will continue to do. So, I think it's you know, may you live in interesting times. This is a very interesting time right now.
I was saying to Anthony earlier, everything's bigger in Texas, but when you come to California, we went over to Leaf Brands. Woo! Yes, we went over to Leaf Brands yesterday. Man, like I've never seen anything like that as far as the pure size and scale, as far as the outdoor grow and what they have up their sleeve as far as like plans for expansion over the next little bit. And then, if I'm correctly, what's the square footage on this facility here today?
I don't know the square footage. It's 160 acres.
It's total 5.2 million.
5.2 million square feet.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's big.
Massive.
It's big.
It's big.
It's a big one. It's a big one.
How old's the facility?
I don't know the answer to that question. I think it was built in the 50s or 60s when they started. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Yep, but it's ideal. That's for sure as far as the climate setup.
Yeah.
When it comes to cannabis, everything's better on the West Coast.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think, you know, this company was predicated upon the foundation of, you know, large quantities of cultivated product at scale cheaply, and the fact that people are going to want California cannabis. And since I have been, you know, a child, I have believed that California cannabis is probably amongst what you want. So the thesis seems to be working, and it's only the relentless execution of this team and the vision of Kyle and Graham that have allowed this to occur.
Yep. And a shout out to my friends over at Village Farms as well, because they're in West Coast, obviously BC, Canada, and I think they do a heck of a job too.
Do a nice job. Nice job. Actually, I saw an interview with the CEO there, and
Michael.
I think he was on. I think he was on this show.
A lot of similarities. West Coast, geographic, obviously.
Very knowledgeable operator. I was very impressed by the things that he said, and you know, some of the things he was talking about are like, you know, don't be. It's not as easy as you think, kind of a thing. And I was very impressed by him.
And I think he's accurate. He's been around a long time, because like it's not just with cannabis. He knows cultivation at large scales when it comes to the greenhouse space. And time and time again, I've said in the past, just one of the towns that Leamington is good old Leamington.
Yeah.
greenhouse capital in North America for produce. Like they're providing the Costco's all across America and Canada, for that matter, all the produce. And these are large scale greenhouse facilities. Michael, in addition to cannabis, has been involved in the produce section for years. So highly competitive, tight margins. So I think he brings a lot of level of expertise, but I see the same thing obviously here with Graham and with Kyle. Man, Graham's pretty impressive, isn't he? Got a chance to see him face to face last night, but that is one passionate man, is it not?
It is. And, I think the success of this facility comes from his team and his passion.
Yep.
And, he takes a tech founder view to the facility of a mantra of constant continuous improvement.
You have to.
I told you, it's like a staple, right? You pick up, one staple, who cares? You pick up a row of staples, you have a fortress, and everything here is about little staples, and you add that up times 1,000, and it makes money at scale.
Yeah.
And that's what he's been amazing doing, and that's what this team has been amazing doing, and it's just constant execution. I also think Marc Vendetti, who's the CFO, came in, turned the company around from a messaging on the street perspective, said, hey, here's how we're going to communicate with the street. Here's how I'm going to manage expectations, and consistently delivered. You consistently do that for 6, 8, 10 quarters. Guess what? The street's going to reward you. So I think everyone in their own lane here and in their own way has really significantly contributed to the success of the company long term.
Looking at some of our comments, if Vegas ever opens up the strip for sales, will be pretty huge. Think we'll ever get to that day, guys? The strip in Vegas?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Yeah.
I think we'll get there.
I hope so.
That's common sense.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's good. That also dovetails into FinCEN guidance, because as long as there's no recourse on the AML laws and the KYC laws, the casinos won't have any sort of jeopardy ensue on their gaming license by having cannabis anywhere near a casino.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about Virginia, but it's crazy to see that how that's flipped. She vetoed the bill, and then
I think that was all a game. We just weren't part of the conversation.
Right.
I think it was optics.
That was pre-baked.
Yeah, she knew she was going to veto it. She knew she was going to turn it around 360 a month later, get a negotiated bill passed, July 1st start date. Virginia goes adult use.
You know what they call that? They call that
about it.
politics, gentlemen. They
Correct.
call that politics, and that was very well played.
Correct.
Somebody write a check at the 11th hour.
Yeah. Well, what do you want? Well, pay me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't blame her.
Hey, you know what? Good for her. Good for her.
It's great.
That's why you become an elected official.
We need VA, and it'll make Verano, Jushi, GTI,
exactly,
and Air
exactly.
much stronger.
Well, I'm going to get out of the seat for the big guy to show up.
Don't even say his word.
The birthday boy?
Everybody knows what's coming.
Always appreciative of the opportunity. And
where do you live from here? Like, we're in Camarillo, which is halfway between LA and Santa Barbara.
I'm just south of LAX on the coast in a town called Hermosa Beach.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
What a nice piece of
the world.
Yeah.
World.
You know what I like to say? It doesn't suck.
No. It's great.
Listen, appreciate
Thanks, Seth.
Twice in a week. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yep, my pleasure.
Talk soon.
All right, my man. Enjoy your day. I'm coming over to your house for a barbecue afterwards.
Please do. You got an open invitation. You
Thanks,
can have
brother.
Tequila on the. Well, actually, you can have a sparkling water on the deck.
Nice. All right, AB, you ready for this?
Yep, we got the birthday boy coming in.
You guys ready for this?
What a day.
Oh, boys.
How are you?
Here we go.
All-time high, too.
Get those headphones on. Get those headphones on.
Left, right. You good?
Get the microphone up. You can put that down on your lap too if you want. How's that? I think you look great. You look really pretty in pink.
Thank you. It's a big day.
All right. Yes, it is. Rules to the podcast today. We're just going to keep this positive, aren't we, my friend?
Always.
Very positive vibes. Positive vibes.
Please.
So how you feeling after Investor Sesh?
Are we live now?
We are live.
Feel like $1 million.
I bet.
I mean, if we start from day one. Everyone was worried about Schedule III.
Yeah.
I said not to worry. And then people, troll and say, where is it? So now we got Schedule III.
Yep.
Then everyone was worried about uplisting. I said not to worry. And the only check in the box that's left is interstate/foreign.
Yeah.
and I'm telling people not to worry.
You had an interesting question when the people or Kyle and Graham and everybody was doing the investor day, and it was about the big tobacco, the Philip Morris's and partnerships there. I didn't get a chance to hear their response, but man, it's only going to be a matter of time. We were talking actually in Chicago this week just about how the earnings reports for big alcohol is going to be pretty bad in the next couple of months, but big tobacco, like these are some of the parts that we're talking about how the industry is going to move fast.
Exactly, and these guys are the tip of the spear. They answered it with, these big companies look for reasons to say no. They look for reasons. They're risk averse. They want to say no.
Yeah.
But this being on the New York Stock Exchange and being banked everywhere checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, I would think so.
It makes you legit because the process with the New York Stock Exchange, which frankly, I started working on 2.5 years ago. It's taken that long. I mean, these guys did a bang up job on the last mile. A bang up job.
I've heard in the last month or so that, and I'm hearing this from various parties that, are we good? Sorry. It's the NYSE courting these companies versus the other way around. Is that correct?
Well, NASDAQ is really courting the companies.
I'm sure NASDAQ's buying
NASDAQ is being very aggressive. The NYSE has a little more prestige than that, and I don't really look. I mean, I've made this very clear. I'm a glass house guy through and through. So, I mean, I hope everyone gets uplisted. I worked on the Robinhood thing with Glass House first. I'm going to work on the Robinhood thing with you guys when people's guard goes down. But these big companies, like when I talked to Robinhood about you guys, about making an equity investment with you guys, higher ups, let's say there's 15 layer, higher ups always look for a reason to say no.
Yeah.
Right?
It's their job.
It's the first word out of their mouth is no because they're risk and we're not used to this. But then I said, you guys did Kalshi, and if you think Kalshi's not gambling, something's wrong with you.
Kalshi's absolutely gambling.
So you fast forward to now, I said, the way, and I'll say this slow because I want this to really seep in.
Okay.
The way you can really make international work is through big tobacco.
Absolutely.
Because they clearly want in. But they'll say, my hands are up because this stuff is theoretically illegal. We're going to wait. We're going to wait till the path clears.
So does that path clear once we have confirmation from whatever it is, if it's positive with the hearing, IRS, FinCEN updates? Is that it? Is there more to it?
It's always a process.
Yep.
But once the big ball in $100 billion worldwide industry starts rolling down the hill, you can't stop it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't think Philip Morris wants this sitting next to Zins and cigarettes, you don't understand where this is going. This is going to be sitting at retail. Right next to the nicotine pouches
behind
the counter at a Walgreens.
Exactly.
That's where this is going.
Exactly.
And to me, it already seems like it's there.
Well, it's not.
But it's not.
And no one's going to stop it. And my solution when I talk to the powers that be, and again, if anyone out there wants to question me, no problem.
Yeah.
I think the scoreboard indicates if you want to question me or not. But my thing is the stuff behind the counter, make it lower THC.
Yeah.
Right? You make it lower THC and you throw a tax on it, right? You throw a tax just like there's tax on cigarettes.
Absolutely.
The high THC stuff, to me, is going to be like fine wine. You can't buy all wine at all places.
Yeah.
The $100, $150 bottles of wine and up are sold at specialty stores.
Right.
Which to me will be, for lack of a better word, smoke shops or whatever you want to call it.
Dispensaries.
So how do we get there? Like, rescheduling is a step in the right direction.
We're getting there.
I know, but like once rescheduling happens for adult use portion, that's not enough. We have to keep going.
Yeah, we need descheduling. We need the States Act. We need something that happens.
Here's the dirty little secret is, and I spoke with Boris about it. I spoke with Camillo about it. The group, if you will, the dirty little secret is the group, which is headed up by it's headed up by the Black Widow, and the Black Widow could care less about anyone else in the group. And the problem is, once you take the walls down, everyone's business model is going to dictate how well they do.
Correct.
And my thing is, and has always been, if you're in business and you want to compete, let the best model win and make a lot of money. And if you have a bad model, you either go broke or you sell out.
Yeah.
But this restricted or quasi state prohibition is good for nobody.
Yeah.
It's because to keep, and if you think you can keep competition out, you may for 3 to 13 months.
Yeah.
But the ball's rolling down the hill.
I think to be honest, I understand there's a lot of people in the industry that have different perspectives. There's a lot of people in the industry that have differing opinions. But at the same time, I don't think that anybody in this industry is going to be powerful enough to stop where we are going to go ultimately. And ultimately, we're going to go to cannabis being descheduled and the wall is coming down. Whether it happens next year, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, this industry is going to become normalized. And I do think that these limited license markets will be forced to expand and or allow other people into them. And no single force within this industry is going to be able to stop that in perpetuity.
And that's how you put out illicit. You put illicit
absolutely.
out when you made, as much as I don't like gambling and what it does, online gambling and these betting, whatever you want to call them, prediction markets, what they've done is you've taken the mob out of gambling.
Absolutely.
You've knocked 99% out. So if you put strict walls and age gating, testing, tracking, the whole thing on cannabis, you're going to knock out illicit by design.
Yeah.
And let the DEA go after fentanyl and synthetic fentanyl. And you just, the key thing is you can't stop what started.
Yeah.
Correct. And this has already started.
And this is started. And if you showed up a year ago to see where we are today, everyone would say we've made a huge amount of progress.
What would
We have.
what makes sense, like from a tax structure standpoint?
Excise tax per.
Yeah.
And is that across both adult and it would be different?
Well,
from
medical's not
medical?
taxed on the state level, so
it
implementing a tax on medical would be tricky. But I got a feeling that they're going to tax adult use heavier with an excise tax to make up for leaving medical alone,
Which again makes sense.
which is fine. Yeah.
Sure. And then to export, put an export tax on it.
Yeah.
Put a tax on every ounce, gram, whatever, leaving the United States headed to whatever is taxed.
Yeah.
And it helps the states, it helps the government. And again, we're in an election cycle.
Correct.
And this is a hugely popular issue. And Cole with the DEA, he's going to do whatever Trump tells him to do.
Yes.
And you're seeing that more and more and more. Like just some of the stuff that you're seeing today with the DEA, friendly visit. I don't want to say friendly, but open to visitations. They're looking forward to it as far as visiting various facilities. Like that's just all welcoming news.
You've got to look at what, cannabis aside, look at what Donald Trump is talking about in the last week. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are literally pivoting their talking points and what the mandates are of the executive branch to align with what is popular going into the midterms.
So give me some
They're
examples.
I don't want to get into politics. Everybody can kind of read the room and understand where I'm coming from. If you look at what J.D. Vance and Trump said in the last couple of days on foreign policy, they're pivoting, and it's because they want to align with what is popular going into the midterms, because Trump does not want to lose the midterms by any way, shape, or form.
Agreed.
And this is the most popular thing out there.
Yeah.
So,
Doesn't Virginia kind of give you an example that cannabis isn't necessarily talked about, but if you go against it, it becomes very loud?
well, who's growing in Virginia? Why can't the governor of Virginia do a state-to-state compact with the state of California? Why can't she?
Well, the funny thing is Sam celebrated Abigail Spanberger vetoing adult use, and then Abigail Spanberger slam dunked adult use a month later.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you
Sam
Sam
is
are true.
finished.
Yeah, Sam
Sam's
are
done.
charlatans. They're finished. They're already giving some sob story around the unanimous decision from the Supreme Court this morning, which is just absolutely insane. The way that they're going about their business, like they are on life support, they're backed into a corner, and they're going to sit there and just be
They're best to focus on gambling.
laughed at.
I mean, they're done.
Yeah.
They're just done.
So the U.S. Supreme Court ruled unanimously, as I said earlier, 9-0, that prosecuting marijuana users for owning a firearm violates the Second Amendment. 9-0. So that's more political pressure. They launched their lawsuit, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, Mark? I'm sure that you got a chance to review it somewhat, but what was your...
I can care less about those guys.
No, I get it.
They're finished. My MO is I'm staying way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Because this wave that's coming, that I see, can't stop it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can't stop it. Now, for all the haters and all the trolls, and you guys know who you are, Glass House is now going to be on the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
And they've done it in far less the time to get it done than TrueLeaf.
So you've been working on this for 2.5 years?
Yep.
Wow.
And I've said
Did
that.
you have conversations with both the NYSE and NASDAQ?
No, just the NYSE. That's
So for viewers out there, it's like, does it matter when it comes to the two exchanges?
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But the New York Stock Exchange has more prestige.
It is more prestigious.
You know, they're more senior. The bar is higher.
It is.
Yeah, the bar is higher, and they don't just take anybody. And
How are they viewing the cannabis space? Because the evidence is pretty clear. They want it.
I mean, I can't speak for them, but they trade Chinese stocks.
Yeah.
They trade all sorts of stuff that's far, far, far more questionable than this. And they're in the business of listing publicly traded companies.
Yes.
And if they can get a jump and they take business from NASDAQ, I mean, Glass House, when it gets going, this thing's going to trade 1 million shares a day on the NYSE.
Which is promising.
You know, which is great business for them. And there's going to be options.
Yes.
And there's going to be double, triple ETFs, bullish or bearish.
Yeah.
And there is a real chance the stock goes absolutely apeshit. And I think that's going to happen.
1 million shares a day would be wow.
That's what TrueLeaf's trading right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see Glass House trading 1 million shares a day.
I mean,
Very
Glass House today, when the shoot 'em up started, was down 50, 60 cents on 200,000 shares. It ended up closing the day up 50, 60 cents on 550,000 shares.
Yeah.
So someone, you know, there's a whole lot bullish today, but someone heard something that got someone off their ass to say, let's buy it. But the thing trades.
Yeah.
So the more, you know, Ross Gerber was at the meeting today asking questions. So I think Ross Gerber's great, but there's 1,000 Ross Gerbers out there who can buy between 100,000 shares and 1 million shares.
Yeah.
And then it's going to get in the Russell because its market cap is bigger than some of the stuff's in the Russell.
Think about that.
Getting in the Russell's big.
Right. Yeah. So then it's going to go into the index. And if it gets big enough, it'll go in the S&P 600. Yeah. And then if they have any form of corporate sponsorship, whether it's with the icy hot guys or tobacco guys. And what did Kyle say today? When I asked him the question about tobacco, he goes, we are actively talking to them. As we speak, we're talking to them. But going on the New York Stock Exchange, whoever they're talking to at Philip Morris or BAT or whoever says, no, they're not a listed company. There's too much risk. Well, you take that checkbox off.
Correct.
So it's really important to see the mosaic that's being formed.
Yes.
Right. And
the way you kind of structure the way you just explained it, though, like that's what gets everyone excited because you're bang on with a lot of this stuff. Yeah, he openly said he's looking to big tobacco right now, but at the same time, too, all these other things that you just outlined, it all makes sense.
Well, something, and I didn't tweet it out. What did Graham say today? He said we're going to be making CBD shipments to Europe this month. Okay. Now that's not in the numbers. Well, a year ago, that wasn't even on the table. 6 months ago, it wasn't even on the table. And if CBD is going to be legal no matter what they do with the hemp, the 0.0, they can sell that anywhere. They can sell it state to state. They can sell it to Europe. Imagine the optionality with this thing if the hemp ban gets pushed back, right? And you guys toured the facility. You saw the facility. You saw what they can do. And as Graham said, we have some sick amount of square feet. He goes, there's not one brown or dead or dying plant in the whole crew.
Yeah.
So when everyone says this is easy to do, it's not easy to do.
Oh no, it's hard.
No, it's
hard.
It's not.
Well, if I could say anything I find that like with the podcast that we have and the amount of people, yes, consolidation is going to happen. And the reason being is because there's a small finite of people that are very, very good at what they do in this industry.
Yeah.
And those ones that are doing it very well, they're now in the position to graduate while others are going to get acquired and the other ones are just going to go away because there's too many companies in the space right now.
Yeah. And again, you know, you guys mentioned Leaf and you like Leaf. And I would never touch Leaf as long as they're associated with Aaron Edelheit, who belongs in a weasel suit, stuffed in a weasel suit, and run out of town in a weasel suit. Now, if Leaf got rid of Aaron Edelheit and he were to leave the board, then to me, Leaf gets more interesting. But you need scale in this.
Aaron's not on the board.
Involved.
Jamie Mandola's on the board.
Well, Jamie, by association with Aaron, is problematic to me. I mean, Jamie's better than Brady Cobb.
Yeah.
But not by a lot. Anyway, having said that, you're going to need scale for bigger guys to take you seriously.
100%.
So when someone says we want to do a deal or we want to do a partnership or something like that, you're going to, you know.
Leaf has scale.
Okay, well, we'll talk about Leaf when they get completely rid of any sign of Aaron Edelheit.
Very impressed with Micah Anderson.
Yeah.
Very impressed with Micah.
Micah knows cannabis.
I got zero problem with them. Zero problem. They've have not done a thing wrong by me.
So let's go back to that NYSE NASDAQ topic. But do you guys think at the end of the day you'll have a combination of companies listed on both exchanges, or do you think it's?
You're going to, yes. There will be companies that list on NASDAQ, and I think it needs to be said, like, yes, the NYSE is more prestigious, but if one of these companies decides to list on NASDAQ, I don't think it's a slight at them.
Anything is better than what the current situation is.
They're both major big board exchanges that have stringent qualifications to get on them. So the NYSE and the NASDAQ are both great steps forward.
And when you talk to Noah, it's a huge plus for him because they own all these things via swaps.
Yes.
So if they couldn't increase their stake in Glass House because they couldn't get any more swaps done, now the swaps will collapse and they can own as much Glass House as they own of those third-rate things that are the top holders, ex-Curaleaf. I mean, Curaleaf is.
We're not going there.
I'm not going there.
GTI is not a third-rate thing.
Well,
GTI is not a third-rate thing.
Not even close.
We can't.
Hey, you're doing good. You're doing good. But let's just edit out that part.
Let me rephrase.
I think that shirt in pink looks great on you, my friend.
Let me rephrase.
Like I said,
if GTI didn't have
no.
blank. Hold on. If they didn't have blank, the stock would be twice as high.
I don't agree with that in the least bit.
Okay.
No, I don't. Where did you get the shirt? Let's just talk about that.
I stole it from someone in a funeral home. Some dead person showed up with this shirt. I unbuttoned it, took it off him, didn't even wash it, and came here.
Did I hear yesterday was your birthday? Happy 50th.
Today's my birthday.
Today, we got the cake over there.
Happy 50th.
66.
66 years old.
And I'm going strong.
Feeling young. I see your wife. She made it down from Montana here as well. So you guys down for a couple of days?
We're heading back tomorrow.
Are you?
Yep.
Love the homeland, just being back at home in Montana?
You know what, guys? I'd go fucking anywhere to see you two. I mean,
you won't come to Florida.
Florida's an inbred state other than you. The Floridians, I call them inbred Floridians. I mean, last night.
Then you got Arctic Mexico.
We have that too. Last night, there was a gathering of, 28 of us.
Yep. Yes.
And there was a time where I just looked around the room. There was a lot of horsepower in there.
There was.
But there was a lot of people. The interesting thing is a lot of people were there last night from different backgrounds, different investment disciplines.
Yeah.
There's not a lot in common. Most people know me as a short seller, but I own a ton of this. Value guys own it. Growth guys own it.
Yep.
I mean, you guys didn't even know of me up until blank ago, or you thought low of me because I was loud or whatever. But it's amazing the community that comes through on certain things.
From all angles and directions.
I said it to Kyle this morning.
Exactly.
When we were talking about this investor session general. I go, Kyle, I know that you guys have done this for the last, 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's become a staple of the business. But I think you're going to see a couple of the other MSOs do this.
Well,
moving forward. They need to have this kind of thing engaging with their investors.
Think about it.
But see, that's the thing. That's what leaders do.
Yeah.
I mean, this company, even though it's smaller than some and West Coast against the others, this company is a leader.
Yeah.
They lead in opinion. They lead in trends. Others were doing the store thing, and these guys stuck to their knitting.
Yeah.
They dealt with significant adversity last year. And I said to Anthony, last night, and I truly mean this, I think the absolute world of you, world of you.
I appreciate that.
Because when everyone was shit talking Glass House during the raid, some of these lowlifes, Anthony said, great, everyone can have an opinion, but let's hold opinion till all the smoke clears and we can figure it out.
Correct.
Because some of you are going to look really stupid and some of you are going to look smart.
Yeah.
And that's my whole thing. I mean,
Well, I will say from a media PR perspective, they handled that to a T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, these guys are pros, and sometimes bad shit happens. And, everyone can be a good winner.
Yeah.
Doesn't take
Was
much.
that 2 summers ago or 1?
One.
It was 11 months ago.
Yeah.
Everyone can be a good winner. It's how you handle adversity and bad things that truly define you.
Well said.
And I think they have a smart shareholder base, these guys, and the shareholders didn't panic. Management didn't panic. They handled their business. They're better for it.
Yep.
They're tighter for it.
They addressed that today too.
Yeah.
And even like they openly said,
And you have to
look,
address it. It happened.
we lost an employee who passed away. And Kyle acknowledged that.
Yeah.
And Graham kind of mentioned too, like we had a lot of tears within the actual, company itself for a long time after that had happened. But
they rebuilt.
But what I found is how them acknowledging it and how they handled everything. The whole investor base actually stood up and actually clapped.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what, you can't avoid those sorts of things because like you said, it happened and it's very unfortunate it did happen. But if you're going to define who you are, how do you deal with adversity? Well said.
Exactly. And that's why I always tell people, don't trade this stock.
Yeah.
You either own it for 100 or, don't buy it at 10. I remember talking to people, should we buy at 10? I said, look, I'd buy it at 10. I'd buy it at 4. I'd buy it at 14. You probably should buy a ton of it at 24.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go to 54.
Yeah.
I mean, if they announce that they've sold 20% of the company to Philip Morris at $30, the first trade will be 60.
Do you think that's what happens?
Yes, I think that happens.
You think it's a stake? It's not a full.
No.
No. You bring on it. You bring one.
No.
You bring on it. That's.
It may happen one day.
Yeah.
I mean, one day this company will be a subsidiary of a bigger company.
But the first step.
No tier one cannabis companies are going to do a full takeout to an enterprise level partner.
Makes
it's going to
sense.
be another Canopy Constellation moment.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think what people have learned from that deal is everyone's going to get vetted.
Yes.
Everything's going to get their diligence done. Everyone's going to get a look at the market.
Absolutely.
And it's not just Philip Morris. It's beverage companies.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's soft drink companies.
Yeah.
There's soft drink companies that I'm aware of through my own work that are deeply interested in this space.
Yeah.
And it's been tested, and it continues to be tested.
Yeah.
And we'll see where it goes. But a big holdback is the credibility the uplisting gives these companies, or this company. The other company that's uplisted is not credible, so it doesn't much matter.
All right, we're doing well there. I think we're going to take a little bit of break here. What are we, an hour and a half in?
Yeah, we're deep into this right now.
Kyle and Graham are going to be coming up. They're just doing some tours. We want to obviously get their voices because what a great day and a great week, it has been for this company, but talk a lot about some of the things that you just touched on as well, Mark, and, get their take on it all as well. So,
well, I look forward.
We also have our deck that we want to present to you off camera here about what we want to present as far as the Robin Hood angle. But everybody, that's what we're trying to do. Is Mark's got leverage, and hopefully we can get.
The great thing is, folks out there, is this has been quite a year.
Yeah,
on my birth, I'm not a party guy per se, but I always look at what was accomplished from a year ago when I was 65 to now when I was 66. And a lot of good has happened, and I look forward to growing old with you guys. Older.
I will say this, and it was just sometimes you get working at your studios every single day, and like you said, you don't get a chance to see everybody all that much. But I was in Chicago. I couldn't go 5 feet without somebody just, saying thank you so much for what you're doing. And I really appreciate it, and all of our viewers out there as well. So make sure to smash that like button. But it's really gratifying to know what we're doing right now. And we're trying to put some sort of impact on the industry. But, the whole platform itself is created for people like yourselves and for people that have big voices within the industry to provide education and direction. So next steps.
And I even like that guy who I accused of using a purse.
He told me, he's like, make sure that you bring a purse to the live stream. He loves it.
I don't want him to hit me with his purse. That goofball, but I kind of like him.
But he loves you. He loves you, and I think you love him too.
I do. I love stirring it up with some of these guys. You just gotta keep it going, and you know what? And I predict somewhere in what year are we? 26. Somewhere between now and a year from now, I look forward to you guys having a conference. I think you guys will have a conference, and if I were to bet it, it's going to be sponsored by Robinhood and others, and I think it'll really be something. I think this investor sesh, as you said, is a template of things to come.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the cannabis industry needs more experiential, and I mean, a conference with high quality, high net worths, institutional investors, and then obviously the leaders in the industry would be something definitely of value. That we could bring moving forward, that the industry badly needs.
And you guys are the guys. There is no one else.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. I will say the conversations you and I had this week, we were kind of floating on air afterwards. We feel pretty motivated and excited. It's all positive. So
well, you've been through hell and back, so you should enjoy the good that comes your way. Yeah. Because God knows you've worked hard enough at it. And again, gang, these guys, I talk to these guys on the weekends. I mean, these guys take this very seriously, and they work their asses off to bring you all stuff. Now, I don't agree with some of the guests they bring on,
which is fine. We don't,
and that's fine. But as long as you can have a respectful discussion of the issues, and not break it down into some of this bullshit, I think it's great.
Absolutely.
All right.
I look forward to shaking Brady Cobb's hand one day.
We got no kick in the dick comments here today, but
we're good.
We're good. You did great today, I think, for the most part. Very good.
I am.
You're floating on air. It's your birthday.
No, you know what? It's not the birthday. It's great to see these guys who really have been through hell and gone. It's good to see them with some wind in their sails.
Yeah.
And the stock has done great.
Yeah.
I mean,
stock has done great.
You used to say, too many people complain you promote the stock. I don't promote the stock. I own a lot of the stock. I make that very clear, and I think it's a great investment, and it's worked.
Yep.
Yeah.
So far, so good. So what can I say?
There's nothing wrong with who you are if you own it, and you own it.
I own my label. I mean, I am what I am, and not changing now. So.
Nope.
Glasshouse investor, big component to this industry. Very opinionated Marc Cohodes. Leave some likes, people. Get those comments coming in.
I appreciate you guys coming.
Yep.
We're gonna have Kyle and Graham coming up in a few minutes here. We're gonna take just a quick pause. We'll throw up the thumbnail, but we'll give you guys all just a 5-minute heads up for when we go live for our final episode here today. TDR's Trade to Black, presented by Flowhub, live on location in Camarillo, California, which is halfway between Santa Barbara and Los Angeles. Great piece of the world, as Seth Yakatan said, and I love it down here. But anyway, anything else you want to add? You want to cut to a quick break?
I am good for right now. I see Graham over there. I don't see Kyle yet, but I'm sure we can grab them and get this party started.
All right, cool. All right.
You guys did the right thing coming outside.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment. Arns, throw up the old thumbnail, and we'll go mute for a couple of minutes.
You guys did well by coming here, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My mother-in-law.
Do you want something to take home?
Yes.
I'll give you a stack of those.
Okay. My mother-in-law, all she consumes is CBN gummies.
This is a high stakes game of online streaming.
Those smell fantastic, by the way. The peanut butter breath.
Okay, we're back.
try this?
TDR's
Yeah.
Trade To Black podcast presented by
Some.
Flowhub. We are
Some.
Glass House Farms.
Boom.
Farms.
Yes.
Farms.
Arms.
Very important.
Yes, and we're in Camarillo, excuse me,
Camarillo.
California.
Like a pro.
Again, halfway between Santa Barbara and Los Angeles. But now it's time for the feature interview. CEO Kyle Kazan, President Graham Farrar from Glass House. Gentlemen, what an announcement yesterday. You become the second company to uplist on a senior exchange. Feedback has been very positive. This is all good for the industry. First off, not even a question. Congrats.
Thank you. And by the way, thank you guys for coming to
Oh.
Southern California.
Thank you for
Ready to
hosting
move
us.
here yet?
I wouldn't have to pull my arm.
It's not so bad.
No.
Weed loves it. So do we.
Yeah.
I'm used to the same tax bracket in Canada. So the only difference is that the weather's just a tad nicer, right?
Can you and I just hug and commiserate later about not having money until July?
Right?
Yeah.
But there's one thing you have an advantage of, and it's just, oh my God, this is probably the most beautiful part of the U.S. down here. It is absolutely
It's about as good as
incredible.
it gets.
It is incredible. I had a friend that moved from Toronto to San Diego about 20 years ago. Great little town, but I've done the coastal highway a number of times from San Francisco down to San Diego. But down in Santa Barbara, just on the ocean front yesterday, those palm, like, all due respect, Anthony, I like palm trees in Florida, but palm trees in California is another level.
It is pretty good. Santa Barbara's a great town.
Yeah.
Hometown for me. So
Santa
I'm
Barbara's
a bit jaded, but
Santa Barbara's fantastic.
The fact that you guys are honoring us, Florida and Canada, coming on down here to Southern California.
Yeah.
You know, we love being in the weed industry. We kind of feel like we're holding our own out here pretty nicely. And the industry that you guys have been covering so brilliantly is now becoming far more legitimate.
Yes.
Because the big boards are now recognizing first True Leaf, then us, and more are coming for sure.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, I was talking to a few people, and I was listening to you today. Where did we drop here?
That's
Production's falling apart here. We'll get that all figured out.
In cannabis, it's par for the course.
Yep.
We're gritty. We just keep going.
yeah.
Anyway, I think the true thing is like we understand the pathway as to where this is going, this new chapter of the cannabis industry. Couple questions. Mark was saying, yes, I think big tobacco is going to enter in the space. Conversations that you guys are having, what that partnership looks like. You know, I asked the question before too, do you sell the whole company to a big tobacco company off the top? Do you sell a stake in the company? All these things are at play. These are all good conversations,
Right.
but the reality is that we have an understanding of where we are now and where this is going to go. And that's the exciting thing. And really that big step in the right direction is yesterday's announcement. So talk to me about that and what this means for your investors.
Wow. So we're still waiting on NYSE for the formal,
Yes.
but we've been in conversations with them for a long time. And the breadcrumbs were laid out there. Kim did the work and showed us how you can handle your adult use by basically not controlling it anymore.
Yep.
And so we just followed that very simple path. And so we're expecting any time now from them, and off we go. And
Yeah.
So we are super excited. GLAS will be our new ticker, and man, I mean, we're just super excited. And what does it mean? It means that all of a sudden, all the banks will custody the stocks, and more people can now invest in this industry. And so we'd like the whole industry that's public. We'd like to see a move to the big boards, because that means the industry is now legit.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good for everybody, right? I think it's one of the things we've grown up in this, used to playing the game with a tornado in our face. So when the wind just backs off to 50 miles an hour, it feels like a big win, right? What we now have is just what every other normal business has, but it feels like a huge win, because we used to riding our bikes with the brakes stuck halfway on. All the people, I can't tell you the number of people that have said, "How do I want to buy your stock, Graham? I want to invest in you and Kyle." Like, but how do we do it? They got to figure it out. Now you don't have to figure it out anymore, because every brokerage has a carve out for anything listed on the big board. So by definition, custody is now solved for Glass House, for True Leaf, hopefully the rest of them as well.
And I told my wife 5 years ago, I said, in 5 years, the family will be fully legitimate.
Yeah.
And you know what? Now we are. Corleones couldn't figure it out. We did.
Speaking of Southern California, I mean, obviously this weather right now is magnificent, to say the least. How much does the lack of humidity, the wind, the sun that we get, where this is geographically located, contribute to the success that you've had in your cultivation program?
Nothing. The two things that matter the most are the Glass House team and where we do it. Like those are the things that you can't substitute, right?
Yep.
You do not change the weather.
Mhm.
You can build the best facility in the world and not have a team that has the grit, passion, and understanding to
Yep.
run it. And it doesn't matter, right? I mean, we have seen what happens when you have plenty of facility and plenty of money and a team that doesn't understand cannabis. It doesn't work, right?
Yep.
Same thing if you have a team that understands it. One of them gets the free California sunshine, which no inflation, doesn't matter what happens with data centers. Another one, that team is in a warehouse in Massachusetts burning coal to replicate Mother Nature. You're never going to win. So not fighting first principles, I think, is one of the things Kyle and I have done well. We have not tried to grow the plant where it doesn't like to grow.
Yep.
We have not tried to. You don't look around here and see office parks. You look around here and see other ag. These guys are growing parsley for 20 cents a bushel, shipping it to New York, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
If they can make it work, we're going to absolutely crush it.
And how much, I guess, you've been saying that for a long time. I think a lot of people didn't really take it seriously for a while. And now with the regulatory reform that we're seeing, they're like, that actually is the future of the industry, which is where we need to be.
Yeah.
And they're kind of behind the 8 ball.
Yeah. I mean, I'm used to people not taking Kyle and I seriously, but it doesn't mean we were wrong.
Correct.
And if you don't quit, you don't lose. And this cannabis is an amazing plant. I love it. And it's special. It is still a plant, right?
Yes.
There is a reason strawberries are pretty good analog to cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason where 95% of the strawberries grown in the United States come from California.
Yeah.
It's not even because people care like they do with cannabis about California. It's not the cheap land. It's not the cheap water. It's not the cheap labor. It's because the first principles of growing a plant where it likes to grow overcome everything else. And not California centric, Florida oranges, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason there, and not here, potatoes, Michigan cherries. Like, plants have places they like to grow. Cannabis likes to grow here.
Anthony, just one point. You just brought up, about the place it wants to grow. Strawberries have a skin.
Yeah.
Cannabis has no skin.
Yeah.
And so it's very susceptible to mold. So if you're in a very humid environment, we have a huge advantage because they're fighting something that plant doesn't want.
Absolutely.
So really and truly, a lot of this is just where we are.
And I think the industry's waking up to that because the numbers don't lie, right?
It's also worth noting, too, that not only from the business point of view, but bans on interstate commerce, siloed states are an environmental travesty, right? You are throwing away Mother Nature, burning fossil fuel to recreate the sun that we have for free because you won't take what consumer wants from here and move it over to there. That's going to go away. We live in a world where that does not stand. Consumers get what they want. They're going to get a higher quality, lower cost, better for the environment, all at the same time.
What do you think it's going to take for, let's say, potential regulatory change around those licensed markets? Because, I mean, those markets were constructed like that from the ground up with the political systems that are in those states, we'll call them. And we know it. A lot of people that are watching the show know it. A lot of industry participants know it. Those aren't efficient markets, truly. Yeah. And this is going to go somewhere where it is fully descheduled.
So help me understand this then. Let's do this together.
Okay.
Let's just say Pennsylvania, which is a medical state, said to one of the big MSOs or two of the big MSOs, absolutely go ahead, import from Glass House in California.
Yeah.
So now you can get California cannabis and you're in Pennsylvania. Next door is New York.
Yep.
Next door is, so you might all of a sudden see some real pressure on neighboring states. And so that, once one or two states go, I think you're going to start to see momentum pick up.
Do you think that does pick up?
I do. I do.
There'll be I think there'll be a spectrum too, right? Because there are some markets that, to Anthony's point, are going to be resistant. Yeah. There are some markets that I think are going to be very welcoming. If you don't have a current medical program and you weren't excited about regulating an entire supply chain, you no longer have to.
Okay, so walk me through here, educate me. So interstate commerce in some ways when it comes to medical, is that play, you think, sooner rather than later?
Like the Carolinas, I think, would be a good example. Don't have a current program.
Yep.
They could do something as easy as saying, if you have a tobacco or alcohol license, you can sell cannabis now, right? They don't need to regulate cultivation, distribution, testing, manufacturing, right? All they need to say is, you're licensed to do tobacco, you can do cannabis, comes from California. We already meet all the standards. The products are made. They don't need to do anything other than make a modification to an existing license type, and now they have a cannabis program.
So
I was talking about that with Kyle this morning when we were talking about Texas up on the water tower. I was like, why would these companies spend all this CapEx and build out this infrastructure when they can roll out retail footprints and import biomass?
You can't underwrite cultivation anymore.
Correct.
Like, even if it doesn't pay back in 12 months, are you even sure it's going to be needed?
Correct.
Texas is another great example.
Yeah.
They have a lot of hemp.
Yeah.
the things missing from I think hemp is great, and the things are missing from it are testing, taxes, and taking ID. A really easy way to not kill the hemp market, but add those guardrails would be make it a cannabis market where you have to buy from state regulated operators. Now you just import California cannabis to Texas instead of hemp, and it meets all the definitions.
So some of these opportunities in various states, is this speculation or is this some dialogue conversations that you guys have that leads in that direction? Can you share that or not?
We are having dialogue. Almost everybody is interested. They know that we are not there to, if we wanted to compete with them and be an MSO, we would have already done it years ago. And we're getting out of retail. We're basically saying, look, we've got this massive growth. You guys just rode through it with us, and you didn't have time to go through all the other ones. So we have an amazing amount, $1 million this year. And so those conversations are happening. We're trying to figure it out. They all have DEA 225 licenses. We have a DEA 225 license. I just need them to work it with their state. We'll work it with California.
Can you educate DEA 225? What is that?
DEA Form 225 is a bulk drug manufacturer's license, right? And I think the key thing to keep in mind there is that is not new. That has been around for decades. There's established infrastructure, there's established procedures, there's established systems for all that, right? That's how, frankly, that's how cocaine and morphine and all kinds of crazy drugs go. Cannabis, obviously, way down the list for many of that, but you don't need anything new. Nothing new needs to be built. There is not a single Schedule III drug that is not available in every single state from any other state, right? So all they did is take their existing infrastructure. They added 2 new drug codes for medical marijuana, one for medical marijuana, one for the extracts. We submitted our applications to the DEA using our state medicinal licenses and say, we are bulk medicinal marijuana manufacturers. Submitted it for the DEA. They've been in dialogue with us now, so we're actively processing the license. Once you have that, then you're just operating on the existing framework. There's nothing new that needs to be built.
I think it's impressive, don't you think, AB, when we came here today and you look at all the list of investors that came here from all across the country, any parts of the U.S., even up in Canada. We saw firsthand yesterday that there's a heavy presence of institutional people here as well. You talked about custody. Once we get this hearing and confirmation, hopefully we get some clarity, the risk is taken off the table, and I do think things are going to start to move fast. Break me down basically on these relationships that you built and how that segues into things moving quicker, let's say, than the average company based on, again, the relationships that you built, because this is promising and I guess a good educational piece for us and Anthony and I just to see what we saw last night.
Yeah, what's interesting is I mentioned earlier today with a public company, like private equity company, you pick your investors. You go out there and you find them. You can say no. Public companies, anybody can buy your stock. And so Graham and I, as you saw today, are completely transparent. We want to show what we do. No secrets. Take your videos. Nothing. And we've heard, others are not nearly that way. So when it came down to it, our story is pretty simple. We've been built for the walls to come down. We're enduring the lowest price of any cannabis market that we know of in the world. And we're still doing fine. And so they know we're built like a caged tiger ready to go. And so when the investors come, it's almost like they tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends. Park West was one of the first, and then he brought in Marc Cohodes, and then he brought in, Matt. They're just like, they all sort of intertwined. That's why you could see they all got along super, super well. And then when we've had any issues, we answer our phones. My job is to talk to the investors all the time. And I think they just understand a simple story. And it's now what we've been talking about happening is now happening. We just don't know. The best question is, okay, Pennsylvania, Carolina, West Virginia, when is that going to happen? Well, we're pushing on the door as hard as we can. And those conversations 100% are happening.
Well, it's interesting because I talked to a lot of the investors today, and I was asking them, I was like, so how long have you had Glass House?
Long time.
Their responses varied. What was a data point that actually was consistent with a lot of them was, I don't own any other cannabis stocks. I only own Glass House. I bought it. I keep buying it. I'll continue to buy it. And it's a concentrated bet on the industry. I wasn't expecting to hear that. I was expecting to hear, well, I've got this, I've got that. They're like, no, this is my horse. I picked it, and I'm going to continue to pick it.
It's
moving. Why do you think that? Why do you think that is? And I like that. That is an interesting point.
I think it's a concentrated bet on the future of the industry. There's a lot of cannabis companies. Many of them are variations on a very similar formula. A lot of those formulas were for today and yesterday.
Yep.
We have always been for today and tomorrow. And to Kyle's point, we are a very simple story. We grow the most best weed for the least amount of money. That doesn't mean it's easy, right? We can see it's not lack of capital. It's not lack of facilities.
Yep.
People have had money. People have had facilities. They did not get the results we do. So while our story is simple, very easy for investors to understand, it is not easy and is very hard to replicate.
You know, I've had these conversations in the past about you guys 4 or 5 years ago. Anthony made a point about, you know, do I necessarily believe in their long-term vision? Like, there's just so many unknowns about the industry. Other people saying, wow, you guys are top heavy. A lot of money that you invested in this actual facility itself. They're almost house poor. Like, how are they going to survive? And we've seen survival mode at the forefront of the cannabis industry. But when you kind of put things into perspective in a lot of ways, survival maybe be amplified a little bit with you guys, Kyle, because now that we've gotten past this stage, everything that you guys have been trying to basically sell and communicate to the investor base, again, it goes back to like, yeah, now we're into this next chapter. Now I can understand what's ahead in the roadmap ahead. And that's really what converts people into speculators into actual investors.
I think that's right. And when you look at some of the nature of, you know, Seawolf Capital, those guys made a fortune on a very special bet.
Yeah.
And it was all in, and it was just one. They didn't play all the games at the table, one. And so when you talk to them and we say, this is how we see the world, I have not taken a dime off the table other than tax selling on a grant.
Yeah.
I'm all in from the beginning because I believe that we're built for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can see, I mean, we spend the money on the facilities for the plants.
Yeah.
The roadways that here aren't fancy. The offices here aren't fancy. We really try and watch our capital. And when you're selling in the lowest price in the world, you're not usually rolling in dough like some of our contemporaries.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is what we've been waiting for. We're closer than ever today. And, you know, with the big boards opening up to this industry, now it feels, and us being number two, really is, it just feels good. And so for our investors, many of them go back 10 years with us and have not sold a share.
10 years.
10 years from the very beginning.
It's like 100 years in
so
cannabis.
the company has been built from the beginning for where the puck is going. I was surprised with the rescheduling announcement, the way that it was done with the international treaty, with the DEA licenses, and that potentially unlocks the unlock you've been waiting for years. Did it surprise you that that was the way that it unlocked and not some other mechanism? Because it shocked the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, I think kudos to the administration.
Yeah.
The way that they constructed that was incredibly strategic, very smart, anticipated a lot of things that could have actually made it look good but mean nothing.
Yeah.
Right? A Schedule III, rescheduling to Schedule III and then saying you have to be FDA approved would have been a whole bunch of nothing, right? Like, what is the FDA going to do with a plant with 3,000 compounds in it? They don't know how to do that, right?
No.
That's a 5-year process. That's a $50 million process. The fact that they went and said FDA approved or medicinally state licensed, which may just become state licensed, boom, right? And all of a sudden, the fact that they said you can apply and you can operate while we review your license and we promise you we're going to get back in 60 days, boom. UN treaty that you alluded to, the pass through with the DEA, so they take control of it and it's compliant, just like in Canada, where the government distributes it. Boom! Like we just solved a whole bunch of things. Medical first, and then an expedited hearing to talk about the rest of it. Again, don't know the answer to that hearing. Very hard to imagine the mental gymnastics you would need to have it come down and say, you know, this has medical benefit, but if you move it over here, it loses it all.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
We decoupled ourselves for the deconsolidation transaction, so we don't care necessarily about that timeline. But amazing. I can't believe it. I had to read it twice.
All right. I heard you this morning during Investor Day talk about how you've been speaking about partnerships with other MSOs. I'm not looking for any specific names, but for what you're looking for, what do you want to execute when it comes to potentially partnering with an MSO?
You know, just like here in California, as we add another greenhouse, as we grow, you know, we've got a lot of biomass to play with.
Yeah.
We just want a consistent partner. We want somebody who's good, pays on time, is selling it through, all the things that we look at here. The good thing is we're used to working with partnerships and supplying the industry. So that's what we're looking for here. And, you know, I know this time for them is not going to be the simplest because they're vertically integrated in many, many states.
Yeah.
That said, I never saw that there was going to need to be data centers, and they built these very power-rich buildings. So they actually may come out in a really, really good place that I hadn't even dreamed of. But at the end of the day,
how so? Do you want to explain that?
Yeah. So let's say I'm vertically integrated in 15 states, and I'm growing indoors in 15 states. Typically, if you're going to put in lights, air conditioning, a typical indoor grow, you need power upgrades.
Correct.
So you have spent a bunch of money for what a data center is going to need.
Yep.
And so whether it's a data center, and around here, they even take down office buildings that have a lot of power, and they use those for truck charging.
Yep.
So there's other uses. We need electricity around this country. And so if I'm an MSO, the minute I can start bringing in, like from us, and if they need a contract so they know, hey, we're going to turn off, we don't control our own destiny, we'll give you a contract, make sure you're covered.
Okay.
And we'll make sure you have what you need for sure. We're a good partner, and we've got lots of good partners they could talk to. You're going, Glass House is the one to work with. And then if I'm them, I am fixing my balance sheet, I'm fixing my supply chain, and I'm doing it for the new world. And that's all. Those conversations are pretty easy. And most of the CEOs in the other companies, they already know me like they know you guys.
Yeah.
Could you ever see yourself going into extraction?
Yeah, I think I would say I would assume that we will do that, right? If you think about what we grow,
100%.
Trim is a natural, unavoidable byproduct.
Yep.
And anybody else's margin is our opportunity.
Yep.
People buy our trim and are hungry for it because it's very high quality, very consistent in large volume. So I think at some point we will either be directly or partnered with somebody to extract that and pull the margin out of it. But I don't know why we wouldn't.
5.2 million square feet, correct?
5.6 million square feet is really, it's 6 million square feet, 5.5 million here, another 500,000 in our other two
Why
farms.
are you short sheeting us like that?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I was going to ask, 45,000 plants a day.
Yep.
So is it true that you have 45,000 problems, but a plant ain't one?
Yes. I got to give you that one.
You like that one?
Or maybe all my problems are plants, one of the two.
That was impressive. Well, the one thing that taking this tour, AV, you know this better than I do, but it's the level of consistency with these plants.
Yeah.
And some of the rows, and there are tons of rows, and each row has the length of a full football field. And that was giving you an idea of the pure mass and size of this facility. But 140 yards each row, is that correct?
Yeah, so a football field, including the end zones off of each side. So as you walk down, you're actually a football field on your left and a football field on your right. You could play every single Sunday football game in each of our one of the 6 greenhouses at the same time. You could play 12 World Cup matches inside of a greenhouse, and we've got 6 of those. So you could have 72 World Cups games all being played here.
Is Mexico playing Korea?
Yeah, right. It's Greenhouse 3. Yeah.
See, I didn't shortchange you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the team here, it's amazing. I mean, it's 45,000 plants today, and then again tomorrow, and the day after that. So,
wild.
As you can attest, you probably walked by 1 million plants, and I don't think you saw a single dead, brown, or dying one.
Didn't.
And that's what they do every day better than anybody else.
A lot of green.
Yeah. Quality, consistency, cost. Yeah. That's been our mantra for a decade. First, you got to do it great. Then you got to do it great every time. Then you got to do it great every time efficiently. And you can tell the scale.
You like that?
That's the golden bear that the state of California gave us for growing the best weed. I think it was last year in the state. We just won a Farmers Cup award.
I saw this
These are blind tests. So, right, for anybody who says you can't do quality at scale, we got stacks of medals and awards to say that that's not so. And like Q2 last year was $91 a pound, right? So to your question about partners, right? Like if you're growing weed at $800 that people don't even prefer, why not work with us, get California cannabis, consistency, better, take the headache away and still improve your margin.
Can I turn the table on you guys? Okay, so usually you guys do remotely, you're showing your studio.
Yeah.
Today you're out and about. What did you think of the cannabis that we shared with you? What did you guys think?
It was good. That's stuff in this container is just as good as any of the MSOs indoor, with the exception of maybe some of their ultra premium lines that I've seen in Florida. This would stack up against all of it easily. It smells great. Smells great. Looks great. I'm sure it smokes great. That's fantastic. but as far as I'm concerned,
Grew it for $100,
which is crazy, because the other guys are growing it for, like you said, $700, $800, $900 a pound, and it's indoor.
Yeah, and this is from California cannabis.
Yeah.
Most best weed for the least amount of money.
Or as they said in Europe to us over and over, Cali weed.
Cali weed,
Which we never say here, but it was interesting.
That smells fantastic. And I mean, but this is where the market is going. Like, this is what most people will buy.
That's one of the beautiful things. One of the reasons I always was a fan of legalization is when I started selling weed, it was $4,500 a pound.
Yeah.
For lots of people, that's medicine.
Yeah.
You should not have to be rich to buy your medicine, right? So I love $400 eights as long as there is also $4 eights.
Yeah.
There should be anywhere on the spectrum, no different than tequila or shoes.
Correct.
Take a point. You should be able to have an option. You shouldn't only have I'm rich or I can't have it.
Yeah,
That's
with you 100%.
Yeah.
Low-cost producer at a large scale was the big selling point when you look back the Canadian run from 10, 12 years ago. But that story got old real quick, and it seemed like a pipe dream. But I think that's what makes this impressive, is that's if you could do that, then
because
okay,
they said they
luck.
could produce at low cost. They never actually did.
Well, that's what I mean.
For the most part, with the exception of one.
I'm not going to name names, but I know a guy that works for a big farm, and he's a grower, and he goes home and grows his own weed in his backyard.
I happily smoke the weed that we grow every single day. It's good stuff.
I'm going to get shit for that one. Anyway, but awesome. I'm so happy for you guys. I don't know if you guys have ever, I know you're preserving capital, but if you're ever interested in investing into a media company, we will move our operations right here every day in person.
Glass House Studios.
Live stream from the farm. I like it.
This has been it's been pretty incredible. But all your team, John DeCourcy, that was coordinating everything. What's Halal's or last name?
Taps.
Halal Tapsh. He was the head of sales and marketing for Red Bull North America after doing the Middle East.
Okay.
Gritty guy from Lebanon. Like, if you come out of Beirut.
Yeah.
And he's just out there at the stores. He's out there looking at products.
Yeah.
We just have a really amazing team. And you met Mark Vendetti, our CFO.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ben Vega.
He calls himself the parent of the company, and I'm like, that's fair enough, CFO. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't play the cat game like we do right now.
When you he doesn't like any of that. When you call yourself the parent of the company, you basically decide, I don't want to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's had real jobs. He's Procter and Gamble, Sirius XM. Like, he actually works at real companies. So
he also got an MBA at a school near Boston too. So
Got it.
He's,
Wow.
he's real.
Well, Halal, you should call him AI. It's just like I would ask him a question, he'd finish the sentence, and whatever I was asking for, it was right there on the table already. Like he's
efficiency.
He's efficient. But all in all, this has been incredible. AB and I are very happy. I hope all of you viewers out there saw some good feedback here today that we were live here, and just really all the conversations that we've had over the last couple of days. I was in Chicago. The word on the street is that we need more anchor investors. That right now we need some clarity, the risk off the table. And yes, these stocks are still somewhat manipulated, but people are saying be patient, get ready for the wave. And once that risk is taken off, it's going to happen a lot quicker than what most people think. Boris was saying that, and I happen to agree with what he's saying there, don't you?
The thing about an exponential curve is it looks like nothing happens until everything happens all at once.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks again for watching here today. Listen, if you're getting value from us here at TDR, make sure to check us out at TDR Plus. It's our exclusive membership community. Why? Well, you'll see CEO interviews that go beyond business, showing a personal side that you won't find anywhere else, including the biggest names of the industry. Plus, you'll get insights from analysts and day traders on where the industry's headed, both short-term and long-term, and a direct chat group with our team. It's only $7 a month, just 25 cents a day, and it helps support everything we do here at TDR. If you want to join, just click the join button below and become a TDR Plus member today. And once again, a big thank you for being part of our community. So that's it for today. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.